Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is the video that I thought that I'd never really have to do. Don't worry, it's not going to be a ranting, raving video, but I'll be honest with you, I wasn't really sure how to handle it. Because as you know, I'm bipolar and there's so many different personalities of mine. I was going to go at it, oh, woe is me. People are saying things about me and my fish and my business. Anyway, that is definitely not going to happen in a million years. Then there's the other one. Right, you mugs, you want to say things about me? That's old Gary. I'm 60. I'm not going down all that old road anymore. And then there's the professor. Well, you chaps don't understand about quarantine. Biosecurity is a very serious matter. And that's not me either. But there is a little bit of that in me, as most of you know. I take it very seriously. And the reason this video's come around, because of an event that happened over the weekend, and I spoke to someone in a manner I shouldn't have spoke to. He was a good friend of mine and it was ridiculous. And we spoke the next day and he said, what set you off, that little thing about the podcast, and you went mad? And I said, stuff has been brooding for the last year and I've got to the point where I've really had enough. He said, make a video, put it all in video, get it out in the open. Those who don't know will find out. Those who think they know will find out the truth. And you will feel a lot better. And it was the best advice I had. And I'm brought to you tonight, not by a glass of red, by a glass of sparkling water. That's right. I've got to watch my old heart now because I'm not getting any older and too much quarantine and too much wine. So the caffeine's going. And for those who are wondering, there is a little bit of Northern Soul in the background to keep me calm all through this video. So we'll go back to the beginning. 8 months ago, I think last September, something like that, I received a phone call from a gentleman I've never, as far as I know, I've never met in my life. And he said, are you Gary Smith? I said, yes, I am. He said, I'd like to buy a fish from you. And I said, oh yeah, you sound very upset though. He said, I am absolutely fuming. I was in a WhatsApp group belonging to a dealer, and I'm not going to name that dealer because I would hope that I'm more professional than. If it's, in fact, it's not more than one, it's more than one dealer involved in this. And the WhatsApp group, the words, I don't know because I didn't see it, but 2 people have repeated this to me and they've both left the WhatsApp group and now buying fish from me. So in a way, I'm not even angry with the dealers. I can't be bothered. I really can't be asked if you've got to have your little digs at me. But the dig was this. It's Gary's fault. He got KHV because of the breeders he buys from. Now I'm going to give you a pregnant pause. Is it a pregnant pause? I'm no good at English. Let's have a pause. Take that in and think about it. I got KHV because of the breeders I buy from. That's enough of a pause. Now I've watched both these dealers on Facebook, on their little posts, and they bought fish from every single one of the 8 breeders that was in both outbreaks of the KHV. So if you don't believe me, just look at them. Look at my website. Any one of the fish I buy from, the breeders I buy from, you will find them selling. So it was a cheap shot. It was a dirty shot. And in fact, there's even a breeder that I don't buy from, that 2 I don't buy from, that you go to. So people who live in glass houses and that. But guys, there's no need to say it. If you don't want a quarantine and don't want to heat ramp your fish, say that. Give your reasons for doing it. Don't drag me, my wife and my business down into the gutter where this video is coming from, and I really didn't want it to be like this, to promote yourself. It's rude, it's downright unprofessional, and I'm not annoyed with you because I say at least 2 customers have come to me. Now, I didn't make much of a fuss of it because I didn't have the proof. I did ask people for the proof, but people clammed up as usual. Didn't want to get any trouble. It was handed over to a barrister, not a barrister, a friend of mine who is a barrister. And he said, if you get it in writing, it's an open and shut case. They've got to say who it is they're talking about. If not, you've got them for two or three different legal terms. I can't remember what it is. So a few months later, I was visited by a customer at my house. We had a cup of coffee. He had a fish in the garden that I was looking after for him. And I could see he was uncomfortable. And I said, what's on your mind, mate? He said, I've just been to a dealer, and it wasn't one of the other 2. This is a 3rd dealer now, who said Gary's fault he bought KHV because the breeders he buys his fish from. Wow. So that's 3 dealers who know where my KHV come from, because it's incredible. Because I don't, and I was the one who bought the fish. So you're making it up. You're lying and you're promoting yourself on the back of the hardship and the misery that me and my wife and customers who saw it, Poor old SEAF that had to come down and put all the fish back. You really should be ashamed of yourselves. But you've got to live with that. I'd never ever do anything to someone like that. That's your choice. And anyway, one of you has just had a little bit of news today that's put a smile back on my face, but I'm not going to go even into that. Now, if that was that, I think that's enough to make this video. But unfortunately, a couple of months ago, there was another incident brought to my attention. A guy who's got a very professional koi farm, and that's all I'm going to say, came up to my shop to pick up 3 really nice broodstock. I think they were Tamora, Takigao, I can't remember. Anyway, 3 big females for his breeding program. And he said to me, we were talking about biosecurity, and it's the day that I forgot the guy, really nice guy, did a YouTube video in the shop. And he said, I don't really like to tell you this, Gary. He said, but people have still got the wrong impression about you and KHV. I said, what do you mean? He said, well, as I was leaving, I said to my customers, I'm sorry, I'm going to Gatwick Koi. I've got fish to pick up. And a guy pulled me to one side. He said, you do know that Gatwick Koi has had KHV? And the guy turned round. Now, this guy and 2 others who I'm not going to mention that we've supplied broodstock. In fact, we've probably supplied broodstock to most of the in fact, not all of the leading breeders of koi in this country. Now, if you cut off their heads, they're like a stick of rock. It will say biosecurity all the way down to their little tootsies, because they have to be even more biosecure than me. My job is to stop KHV, anything else, sleeping sickness, whatever, getting out of the quarantine into my shop. If it happens to them, they've lost their broodstock, they've lost everything. So they have to be a million times more careful than customer Joe Bloggs buying a fish. Now, if they can trust me, why are you worried that we've stopped KHV? Because that's what's happened, and this is what this gentleman pointed out to his customer. He said, Gary has not had KHV. When you say we've had KHV, it's like we've lost it all, we've given it to customers. We haven't. It never got past the quarantine that was specifically designed to trigger and stop KHV. And that is a fact. You can speak to Paula Reynolds, you can speak to SEAF. I'll even get them permission to give you any details of the case, because that is a fact. And then shortly after that, I mean, this is a comedy of errors. I got a phone call from a very professional person on the health side, and she said, I've just heard the most ridiculous rumour, Gary. You got KHV the 3rd time because you didn't wash your pond out properly. I mean, I don't know who's starting these rumours, but you are making yourself look so stupid. Now, I can understand if you repeat it because someone you trust. I've got no bucks about that. But for those who are in the know, the second time we had KHV was what we call the B side of the forge. It was a 4,000 gallon pond. Not only was it sterilised, we knocked it down, concreted over it, and built 2 ponds over it. So the second time we had KHV is in the left-hand side of the quarantine in a totally different pond. So not only did the pond that we had it the first time, buried under 6 inches of concrete, foundations for the 2 new ponds that took its place, it was in the left-hand side. Now, KHV is very aggressive and very, oh God, I can't think of the word. Well, it transfers quickly, that's the word I'm looking for. But last time I looked, lads, it can't travel through 18 inches of concrete. So stop spreading stupid stuff, because you're making yourself look really, really bad. And people are now coming to me because they've said, can you explain this? So what I'm going to offer a chance to you, I can't do it on, you can't just turn up and ask because we're really busy. If you're one of these people that haven't bought fish from us because you're worried that we had KHV or we stopped KHV, that's what we did. We stopped it 3 times in our quarantine. Please visit and I'll talk you through and I'll show you around the forge, and it might open your eyes about it, because this isn't a rant, and if it comes over as a rant, I'm really, really sorry. It was never supposed to be that, but obviously I'm a little bit angry, but I think I'm hiding that well. And then I bring you to the next little thing, which wasn't annoying at all. Excuse me, another sip of, it is honestly, it's not Prosecco, it really is sparkling water. Ah, dear, that's better. Now, a customer I've got a lot of time for came in to me and he said, did you know so-and-so koi farm had KHV X amount of time ago? I said, yes. He said, oh, you're honest. I said, I'm known for being honest. I'm not going to lie. Hence the 3 different versions of me. This is me, honestly, talking to you from the heart with facts. Nothing else, not opinion, facts. And I said, yes, of course, I know he did, yeah. But you're buying fish from him. I said, yeah, that's right, yeah. Well, aren't you worried? I said, okay, let me ask you a question. Every time I've had KHV, within 5 working days, you have ordered a 500 to £1,000 fish. Even though you didn't want it, and I know, and I thank you, you did it to support me and Sue, didn't you? He said, well, yeah. But you didn't have any worries about it. No, because you cleared it up all in the fish house. I said, so did the breeder. The breeders don't just have one fish house. They have their broodstock in one, their other big stuff in there, their tosi there, they might have nissoi over there. Nobody has it all in the same fish house. So this poor breeder, you know, he had to go through what I had to go through, even worse. They swarm the place with white suits, everything's taken away, destroyed, it's all sterilised, they're not allowed to ship, they're not allowed to sell for a month. It's more stricter than the UK. So if I don't support that breeder, how the hell can I ask you to support me? And that's what it is. And the other fact is, I've been heat ramping his fish for 6 weeks and nothing's shown out and everything's good. So I really want to try to educate people out there. The only way to find KHV is through heat ramping. Now, I know there's this magical new test, but I'm sorry, I've already spoke to the woman who invented it. It will only show you KHV if the fish is going through or shedding the virus. It will not test healthy or positive for a healthy carrier fish. There is no test in the world, and again, don't take me, Gary Smith Gatwick Coy, I'm trying to sell you fish, don't take my word. Ring up CFAS, ring up Paula Reynolds and say, if I buy a fish, is there a test I can do it to see if it is carrying KHV? There is not one. And I'll go even further than that. I had a little disagreement with someone about testing and he threw the dummy out and left the argument, which is a shame because testing has its place, and don't get me wrong, it's great. But did you know one of the major shippers out of Japan has stopped testing because the tests are just not proving it? And the proof of that is when I go back to round 1 of KHV with us, Chogoro had KHV. I had 2 ponds dying here. I knew it was KHV. I told Japan it was KHV. They said, oh no, we're testing him, there's nothing wrong. I said, there is something wrong. His fish are under at 22 degrees and they are dying. So anyway, 7 days later, I got a phone call. Oh, sorry, Gary-san. Yes, he's tested positive for KHV. I said, well, I've been telling you that for 10 days, but thanks for the confirmation. Now, this goes back to what I say about testing. It's great and it has its place. Obviously, as soon as I think I've got KHV, I get the fish tested. Because they're going through the virus and they're sick, then they will show up on a PCR test or the snip of the gill test that I see people doing or the swab of the gill test. None of those tests will show you up unless the fish is shedding the virus. But it is good, and it's good to be doing something, because you could have a fish shedding the virus and it might not be giving it to the other fish yet. And if that goes through your quarantine, but you can pick it up on the PCR test, it's great and it has a place. So I'm not putting it down, but there's not been a test ever in the world that's found KHV before a dealer or a hobbyist has been losing fish to it. And again, that is a fact. I've asked around. If I'm wrong, I'll come on here, I'll do another video, say there was an incident. And in fact, that 15 years ago, there was a breeder tested for KHV. He was tested positive. This is in the early days. All his toci were destroyed. 5 years later, a test come out, and guess what it was? Cart pox. Cart pox is a herpes virus. Not anything like in the KHV, but it's still some kind of a herpes virus. If I've got my chemistry and science wrong here, I'll apologise and I'll come back on. But as far as I know, this breeder was tested and it wasn't KHV. An more advanced test come out. It wasn't KHV. It was cart pox. So the poor old guy didn't ship any toci for a year for that. Now, with the breeders, I can understand it's hard, but I've always said a breeder must be able to build a little 1,500, 2,000 gallon pond, put test fish in there with naive fish, take them up to 23 degrees. 2 weeks later, you know, that could be enough just to trigger it without doing the chill cycle like we do. But what I'm saying is, there isn't a test in the world. I had a dealer ring me tonight and smashing fella, lovely fella, talking to me. He said, we're all thinking about joining this guaranteed KH3. I said, oh, I'd love to hear about it. I said, but it can't happen. Even though I heat ramp, that is still no guarantee. It's the best guarantee you're going to get, but it's not 1,000%. Luckily, touch wood. I'm in my man cave, it's all plastic, sorry. Oh well, touch wood. You know, I'm doing the right thing and I'm good enough thing. So I just really wanted to come on and say to people, don't believe the hype. Don't believe some of the bullshit that is going on out there. We did not have KHV in the shop. We did not give it to a single soul. We stopped it 3 times in a quarantine by triggering it and putting all the fish down and scrubbing out. And the scrubbing out is done by CFAS. It's not now, it is changing. Unfortunately for the koi industry and the hobby, CFAS are lowering the importance of KHV. It's now in so many riverways and waterways that they can't prevent it spreading, so that it is going to get lowered. And I think it's a shame, but it's not for me to say, but that's the way it is. So again, this is not a rant, it's about education. Please ask me. If someone says to you, don't buy to Gary, he's had KHV, don't buy from that person either, because he's bullshitting to you. He knows full well the shop has never had KHV. Not one person out there has had KHV from us, and we stopped it 3 times by chiggering it. And it literally is so simple to do. I don't know why dealers don't want to do it. If you don't want to chill the fish to 11 and do the full chill cycle, I get that. But even if you take the fish, because 2 out of 3 times it was triggered 10 days after, no, not 10 days after shipping, sorry, I apologise, misled you a bit. We always wait 3 or 4 days, let the fish settle, vroom, and then we go up 3 degrees a day to 24, 25, and you can virtually guarantee 10 days after it's gone through 21 degrees, it'll trigger. And even if you dealers do that, it's something better than nothing. And this is why, you know, people keep saying, and they can't understand, why is Gatwick Koi so busy? Why are they selling so many fish? Because we're honest, we're truthful, and we do the full heat ramping technique. And I've seen videos of dealers, yeah, our new quarantine thing, we're going to give you the best quarantine. There's not a heater in sight, there's not a chiller in sight, but I don't make a thing of it. I'm not unprofessional like that. But if I'm thinking that, how many other dealers are thinking that? How many other koi keepers are thinking that? How many times do I see it on Facebook? Just sourced these fish in Japan, great, I'm really pleased for you, mate. They'll be available to be taken from my place in 4 weeks' time. Well, hold on a minute, 2 weeks takes that to get a health certificate sorted out and room on the plane. So you're letting fish go after 2 weeks. Guys, all you've got to do is think and ask. Don't be afraid to ring me up and just say, Gary, I've heard a lot about you. Can you explain this, that and the other? I might get a little bit, well, this is the way it is. Or I might get a little bit, you know, not snappy, but no, I don't want to be like that. I really want people to understand, because every time this is said, it could cost me and my family thousands and thousands of pounds. I already know that someone already done it this year, but luckily the guy who was in my house is a very good customer, 20 years upstanding on me, told me what was said. 2 customers that I didn't know come and told me that was said on these WhatsApp group, which is another reason I don't have a WhatsApp group for the public. I think there's too much that can be easily said. There's too much underhand stuff goes on. And I will take my hat off, if I ever wore a hat, to the young man up on the Wirral. I can't remember your name. I'm sorry, I'm getting old, it escapes me. A new guy, and he put on Facebook, unlike a lot of dealers, we don't want a WhatsApp group. We want to be open and honest with all our customers so everything can be seen. Brilliant, mate. 5-star award. Fantastic. I wish everybody was like that. Now, this is not a dig at dealers, because it's not all dealers saying it, and I've got so many great friends and so many people who've got some really good quarantine setups. It's not a dig at that. I just want the public to sit back and not listen to the rubbish. If you've got a question, ring me up. I am, whatever anybody tells you, I am approachable. And if it means, like, you know, you might be coming to buy some fish off me, then I'll open the forge up. You can see the books, the temperatures, you'll see heaters working, you'll see chillers working. By the way, if you come in the summer when we're chilling, don't wear a jumper, because it is like 30 degrees in there. I don't know if you're aware, but when you chill water, the output is hot air. And if you've got 4 chillers working flat out, putting hot air, it can be 30 degrees, even if it's only 18 outside. So don't come in big coats and jumpers. You'll be like in a sauna. So anyway, I hope I haven't bored you too much. I think I've got everything off my chest. I would just like to shout out a big shout out to Joe Mitchell, who sent me the funniest poster. By now, most of you seen it. It's going around in the thing. It's going around all around social media and Facebook. And me and Joe, we're going to have a little match up on one of his podcasts. And I know a lot of dealers are probably going to say, "Whoa, you didn't want to do podcasts. You're going on over to the light side. Stay in the dark side with us dealers." Joe Mitchell made a very, very good point. He said, "I said your podcasts are being biased towards old dealers, prices and dealers and that." He said, "Gary, I want you guys to come on and say it, but none of you guys want to come on." He said, "I've got to go with the people that want to come in and have their say." And I did some thinking about it, and he's bang on right. I make him definitely. So as I say, I'm taking the Pepsi challenge. You're going to see me on his podcast. It's going to be interesting. I've said to Joe, no subject, unless it's confidential stuff, obviously, is... oh my God, my brain's gone dead. No subject's going to be too controversial to talk about, or an opinion or anything, because there are always two sides to an argument in this sort of business. And I think some podcasts, because you're only getting like a new generation, and I do blame us. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 dealers I spoke to Saturday afternoon about it, all moaning, and I was moaning, and I had a moan at Joe. Believe me, I had a moan at Joe. But the trouble is, the koi industry is changing. I don't like it. I'm an old school guy. It took me 3 years to get a website. It took me 3 years to get an auction site. It took me 6 months to start even thinking about looking at buying a drum. I am old school. I don't like change, but I accept the koi industry is changing. And if you want to get your opinion and you want a point of view over, you can't sit back and moan about it. It's like someone to me not voting in the general election and then moaning because Labour won. If you didn't want Labour to win, you could, my one vote wouldn't have made a difference. No, but a million of you might have done a difference. So I am going on there. I'm not turning me back on dealers. I am going to be speaking for you. And I'll tell you now this, if there's a subject that you've seen on a podcast and you're not happy about it, give me a ring and I'll bring it up with him. All right? Because believe it or not, whatever one tells you, I am honest. Honest G, that's the name. Honest G, the koi dealer, Gatwick Koi. I'll bring it up for you. I'll mention it, especially if it's something I've got half a dozen questions, and I'm sure Joe has got when you had the old tail crane and they go, oh yay, and the list comes here. I bet Joe Mitchell's probably dropped on the floor and is rolling down to London as we speak, because he knows, and I know, no subject is taboo. That's the word I was thinking of, and I'll answer it, and we'll see how we go. It's going to be interesting. And I'm sorry this has gone on. This is the longest video I've ever done, but I really, really wanted to say what's been going on and what's been said, and some of it is really untrue. Some of it's pretty dirty as well, to be honest with you. If you've got a low to tactics like that to sell your fish, I'd never do that. And I know more than enough about some of you guys to be putting it around. But don't bother. Do you know why? Because I can't be asked. I'm 60 years old. I've got a nice little business. There's some big changes ahead for Gatwick Koi. Oh yeah, I promised I wouldn't mention it, so I'm not going to. But there's a lot of different ideas going on. I made a lot of new friends in the industry, which are going to take me in different directions. And some old friends have popped up and pulling me in a different direction again. So I can't say too much. I'm guessing around July, everything will be revealed and what's going on. Meanwhile, come in the shop, we're revamping it. Have you seen my wallpaper? Oh my God. The decorating companies in Crawley haven't got to worry about me stopping being a dealer and being decorating. I am the original bubbles man. There are bubbles everywhere, but it's such a weird pattern. I'm hoping no one will see all the creases in it. So anyway, you know who I am. If you don't, hopefully you'll see this video. If anybody watches this and does think, yeah, this is out of order, I want people, share it away. I will not be offended. And if anybody's got anything they want to understand about KHV or talk to me about it, don't just turn up in the shop, because I might be too busy, and I don't like to be that busy person. I don't want to talk. Oh dear, more sparkling water, sorry. I do want to be the guy that's, people can approach and talk to. I haven't got that many years left in the koi industry. We're all getting older and older, and I do want to pass on some of this stuff I know. And I'd like to also thank a guy today that made a nice comment about, yeah, I think you should get on there, Gary. I know he doesn't have a lot of time for me, but even he said, yeah, you dealers need to come out of the darkness and come into the light and get seen. And thanks for that. Anyway, I'm signing off because it is Friday night. The England ladies, come on, you roses, are getting ready for the telly, and I am now going to open a bottle of wine. So good night, God bless, and have a good weekend. Cheers.